Hello, my name is Dr. Sandra Rios, and in this PowerPoint presentation, I will be explaining to you the basic procedure for completing Assignment 4 on purpose and audience. Assignment 4 is divided into two parts. Part 1 is a planning form that helps the writer to explore both their purpose and audience. Please look at the YouTube PowerPoint presentation for an explanation about the planning form. However, I would like to basically or briefly explain to you that part of the planning form involves choosing a tentative topic for the project that you are going to do and submit at the end of the semester in replacement for the final exam for this course. Remember, there is no final exam in the sense that you don't have to come in during the final exam week and sit for 2 hours and take a final exam. What you do have to do is you have to submit some sort of a project, and in this case you have a choice of submitting either a proposal, a short proposal, or creating a website. Either way, you need to choose a topic. And some of you might already have an idea of what you want to do. You might be actually working on a project in another class, or maybe you have created or worked on some sort of a project in a course or a class that you've taken in previous semesters. Either way, the final project has to do with some sort of an environmental problem that affects Puerto Rico, and the focus is on Puerto Rico. I don't want to hear about the world or any other country or part of the world unless you're talking about it in relationship to Puerto Rico. I have presented on this slide a list of research topics that you can use as a guideline to choose your topic for the final project. So please start this assignment on the planning form, and later on in the collaborative writing form project. Please choose one of these projects if you don't have, or topics if you don't have a topic already. Once you've chosen your topic, you need to fill out the planning form. And the planning form asks you to explore your purpose for doing your final project on the topic you've chosen. You will fill out the planning form with the information about the purpose and the audience so that you will explain in the planning form, or you will decide on the planning form either whether your final project, your final document will have as a purpose to explain or inform your audience about some situation or problem, or how to perform or complete some sort of a task, or whether you're going to argue or persuade your audience to either think or do something. Many times you will find that your document will combine to a greater or lessering degree both of these purposes. Sometimes, though, you might just explain or inform. On other occasions, you might find that your primary purpose is a strongly persuasive or argumentative paper or project. Part 2 involves having you complete a checklist for collaborative writing. This assignment is a group assignment. It's a collaborative writing assignment. And actually, I highly recommend that even though you place the information for this checklist at the end of your assignment 4, that you actually complete the checklist before you do the planning form. In other words, you're going to choose your group and fill out the collaborative writing checklist. And then once you've done that, go back and do your planning form. So the fact of the matter is that hopefully by the time you're watching and listening to this explanation of assignment 4, you have already chosen a group. Now in class asked you to get into groups of 2, but you can also get into a group of 3 people. Once you've formed your group, again, fill out the checklist for collaborative writing and answer all the questions. The answers to these questions are what will be in part 2 of your assignment 4. I reproduced on the slide the checklist for collaborative writing. So once you've gotten your classmates, you're in a group, then ask yourself, has the group assigned a team leader? Has the group listed all the research and writing tasks? Has the group established a schedule for completing assignment 4? Has the group assigned tasks to individual members of the group? One of the advantages to working in a group is that you can divide the work amongst the different members of the group. If you're working in a group of 2, then you divide between the 2 of you what you're going to do. If you're working in a group of 3, within the group, you will then divide the assignment between the 3 of you. Okay? And a very important part of collaborative writing is how are you going to meet or exchange information and documents? In other words, how are you going to either get together to plan the assignment, or how are you going to then put together the final draft? Who's going to submit to Canvas the final draft? It's important that you know and you answer all these questions. Who is going to review the other's material? In other words, it's not enough for you to say, okay, you're going to write the rough draft or you're going to submit it to Canvas. You have to check up on each other. You can't just, I'm sorry, trust that the other person has done their work. I've seen lots of examples of situations in which students don't check up on each other's work and the work is not done correctly. All right, so go and look at the other 2 items on this checklist. Also, I want you to answer these questions. I want you to literally put the answers to these questions in part 2 of assignment 4. I want you to write down the name of the team leader. I want you to make a list of the writing tasks. What do you need, either research or writing tasks that you need to complete to fulfill the assignment? What schedule? What are your deadlines? When do you have to hand this in? What are the penalties if you don't hand it in on time? Okay. Here in item number 4, what are the tasks? What tasks are individual members of the group going to do? If you have, in this case, most groups have 2 people. If you have a group of 3, then add another line. The members' names and the tasks they're going to complete. Also, how will members of the group exchange information? This was on the to-do list. I recommend highly that you meet face-to-face, maybe at the student cafeteria, student center, or that you go and you meet at somebody's house, or McDonald's, or Burger King, a fast food restaurant, the library, someplace where you can plan the document. After that, you can use Google Docs or exchange drafts through email. But how are you going to exchange the information since you're not going to be seeing each other all the time face to face? The decision about how you work out the intricacies of completing this document are up to you. All right, and then of course, how will you determine the order in which documents will be reviewed? Remember that you draft this document and then somebody needs to come along and look at it and do any revisions that are necessary. Okay, who will read the final draft of the document. And I think this is a really important item, number 8, is what procedures or methods will be used to resolve potential conflicts. In other words, sometimes people don't work well together. Somebody does more work than the other person. There's anger, there's hard feelings. What would you do in order to resolve any conflicts that might arise? All right, so the final product, what you're going to hand in as a final product for this assignment is part 1, the planning form filled out. And then part 2, the collaborative writing checklist with answers to the questions. And again, let me repeat, you can do the planning form first and the collaborative writing checklist second, but I highly recommend that you first do the collaborative writing checklist and answer the questions and then go and do the planning form. In conclusion, make sure that somebody is responsible for submitting this assignment. Please make sure that the names of all members of the group are on the assignment and that each person submit a copy of the assignment. If the names of all members of the group are not on the assignment, I'm only going to give credit to the person who has submitted the document. Okay, so please make sure that if there's 2 people in the group, both names for both those people are on the assignment. If there's 3 people in the group, all 3 names are on the assignment. And make sure that you know who's going to submit the assignment, the final draft. And in conclusion, most importantly, don't forget to check the deadlines for this assignment on Canvas, okay? Make sure you know when the final deadline is and what the penalties are if you submit it late. Thank you very much.